9 o'clock on the dime. Good morning. Happy Thursday to the guy who thought it was Friday morning. I go, oh God, did I forget to take my trash out? And everybody else's trash is out. I'm like, oh, they didn't come. And then I realized, no, it's Thursday. Today's trash day. That's how busy it's been. How are you, Candace?
Get myself off mute. I'm great. How are you?
Good. Very
Good,
good.
good. Yeah, I was jamming out to your music. I could do country and Jimmy Buffett all day long.
Yeah, I try to stay in a tropical mood.
Yep.
At least it'll be 80 today, so it'll be good.
Yeah, that's what I think of when I think of you and Jeff.
Hey, I wanted to start out with yesterday's Jeff, Mike, and I shot a podcast. And we were pretty damn direct on the need to buy a home. And
Yeah,
if you don't have a home, you really need to work on getting one.
right,
And we talked about building a relationship with a loan officer and a real estate agent to make this a successful endeavor for you. Because there's tips and tricks that we know over time. And then we talked about, and no discount to our newer agents, but is there a 49%, a stat came out from Jared James yesterday, of real estate agents did between 1 and 0 transactions last year.
yeah, I believe that. It was
So
a
your
tough
chances of
year.
running into, and a lot of those agents aren't supported by a big company with a lot of support, so they don't know what to do,
Right,
right? And so you're going to give some tips and tools today of things that people don't know about. And then it's our job to express our knowledge about these opportunities, because some people think, oh, I can't buy a house, my credit's too low. Oh, I can't buy a house, I don't have enough back down payment. Oh, I can't buy a house, I've got too many debts. And those are all realistic opportunities,
hmm,
but they're not terminal. We can
right.
fix your credit. We can get your debt to income down lower. It might take time, but it's all possible. And
Yeah,
then Zillow came out with a report yesterday, or this is Tuesday, that said the average rent, the average income, average payment for a house in America is $1,790 a month. And the average rent now in America is $2,700 a month. So the
hmm,
average renter is paying $2,000 a month. And then we talk about the benefits of mortgages as tax deduction, writing off your property taxes, writing off your mortgage interest, your insurance, all that stuff that lowers your income tax. And the savings are just immense. So we get it really strong. So my goal with you today is to teach us something that we don't know that we can go educate our people about.
right.
So
And that's the goal too, is to get with a loan officer that you can know and trust and can educate you, because you all are good at what you do and we're good at what we do. And if we could like team up and I could show you some miracle things that we've got in the mortgage world, then you'll feel more confident when somebody says, I don't think I can buy, I just don't have the funds to close. We can solve that. um, I just, whatever, my credit's not good. We can solve that. We can solve all of this. So thank you for having me and Steve somewhere around here, Steve Marshall. Get out your notes and your pencils and your pads, or if you got an iPad like I did this year and you can take notes on it with your little pen, that's what I'm doing. But I'm with CMG Financial, and we could do everything. We've got access to over 200 loan programs, over 200. We're talking conventional jumbo, FHA, refinances, reverse mortgages. That's a big thing right now. Um, Helping with multifamily homes. That was a big concern this year that they came out at NAR saying, that's going to be a big one this year because everybody's bringing their parents to live with them or closer. Side note, if you want to move your parents closer to you, you can buy them a house right next door and get it as a primary property for like a primary rate. It's not a second home and it's not an investment. So if you can buy a house for your parents because they cannot, you can have two first mortgages. I do HELOCs, FHA 203K, list and lock. I don't know if you guys know about that. We'll get into it on February 22nd. All in one mortgage, which is insane. We'll get into that on February 22nd in deep details. I can do condo tells. That's big for you guys at the beach. Bridge loans, construction, bank statement, asset depletion, anything. Like we can get it done. But we're here today to talk about the FHA 203K and the Fannie Home Style renovation loan. these are great for first-time home buyers, and they're great for agents out there that have distressed properties that they just can't get moved. Um, I've got Steve Marshall with me. Say hi, Steve.
Morning.
He's going to, you don't want to start on a 203K with a loan officer that has just done like one or two or three. They're not hard to do, but they are very specific. So Steve is in charge of the whole renovation department. He's got a team that takes it from beginning to end, no worries, get it done, walk you through. He's amazing. So, Steve, talk to us.
Thanks, Candace and Craig. I want to thank yourself and your agents to give me an opportunity to um, hopefully stimulate some thought and concepts that your agents can implement into their business strategies. And I think the key word there is implement.
Let me just give you a couple little tips that I've been reading about too. Right now, they're saying the average home is 37 years old in Tampa Bay. Right. And if you know anything about insurance, you're not going to get insurance on a 37-year-old home.
Correct.
So there's a lot of homes that are not going to be insurable that people want to buy and renovate, but they're going to have to renovate. And as you know, most people don't have a cash down payment to buy the house and to renovate it. So that's why this is an important program. So,
well, it's interesting. I brought we're relatively new to CMG Mortgage. We came over from Homebridge in the acquisition that CMG had of Homebridge back in April. I started the renovation platform with Homebridge Financial Services back in, it was April 1st, 2011. It was April Fool's Day. I never knew if that was a good thing or a bad thing. And at that time, there was nobody in the company Homebridge, because I had just recently joined them, that had ever either done a renovation loan or even more than that, ever wanted to, because of all the negative perceptions behind renovation financing back in those days. So we built what I call a platform. I don't call it a product, because when you think of a product, you think of a transaction. And what our business plan was to build a platform to help people continuously grow their business, because we're in a referral industry. And if we have to live and die by transactions, we're going to die. But the more referral partners that we have, the greater the probability that we're going to be successful for the long term. So our goal was never to be the biggest, it was to be the best. And that's still our goal today. However, in 2017, 18, and 19, we were the largest renovation lender in the entire country. Why do I tell this to your agents? It might be new to many of the people here on this call. My team has been doing it for 13 years. We've successfully done over 12,000 of these products around the country.
wow.
And what you just said about the average home in Tampa being 37 years old, you know that your association, the National Association of Realtors, does a survey of home buyers and home sellers every year, and the results come out the beginning of every November. They've been doing it for 41 years. And this past year, the average home, the median home in the entire country was built in 1985. So 38 years old, you're right on target, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. But here's the key point. When they asked the home buyers how long they anticipated being in the house, the average time frame, Craig, was 15 years. And 22% of them said they had no plans of ever moving because they selected a school system, they selected a specific neighborhood, they wanted to be friends for family, etc. So just think about this. If 32%, 1 out of every 3 sales is a first-time home buyer, and if the biggest obstacle for a first-time home buyer is to come up with the necessary money for down payment and closing, and they're buying a 38-year-old house, and they're anticipating being in that house 12 to 15 years because they want all their kids to get through that school district, what's the probability that that house has the functionality that the millennial home buyers of today are looking for?
Like none.
Probably pretty low. You're absolutely right. And so if in fact coming up with the cash for down payment and closing is their biggest obstacle, because 23% of them, and this comes right out of the survey from the National Association of Realtors, needed gifts from friends and families just to facilitate the transaction. If they have an emergency repair, if the HVAC system needs to be replaced, if they need to replace a roof, windows, I could go on, Craig. Where are they going to get the funds to be able to do it?
I just had to put a new tile roof on my house, two new air conditioning systems in my house, all new windows and doors in my house. Yeah, that was
it was pretty expensive, but you know what the nice thing is? Now, right now, through, I think it is 2032, the federal government, through the Deficit Reduction Act of 2022, can give you a tax credit up to 36% of the amount of energy improvements that you can do in your house. Yesterday, I did a podcast for CMG loan officers, and that's why Candace invited me to come here today. And the one thing that I really stressed in that podcast, there were three things, actually. The first thing was energy efficiencies in homes. The millennial home buyers, again, going back to your survey, the National Association of Realtors surveys, the number one feature that they were looking for in homes was energy efficient items. So again, if you got a 36, 37, 38-year-old house, what's the probability that it's going to be energy efficient? So by utilizing a renovation loan or just utilizing a regular, let's say 203B, regular FHA loan with either solar or energy efficiency, not only are you going to be able to satisfy what the buyers are looking for, what their desire in a home is, but the federal government's going to help you pay for it. Now, I asked Candace yesterday about your marketplace, and she said that you have agents spread out all through the state of Florida. So what I want to do right now is just give you something that maybe can help your agents who are in markets that are FHA markets, right? This is probably a secret. It's not a secret. It's known to everybody, but for some reason or another, mortgage bankers haven't talked about it. We haven't given you all the tools to know how to use it. FHA allows for both solar and for energy efficient improvements. Number one, the appraiser does not have to factor in the energy efficient improvements into the appraisal. So the fear of the property under appraising goes away. Number two, the loan officer will calculate what the maximum loan is, maximum base loan, based on the sales price. And your homeowner will be able to add dollar for dollar on top of that base loan amount for the energy efficient improvements. So there's no additional cash investment needed in order to facilitate these improvements. All the improvements are done after closing. And here is a really big potential benefit for all of you all in the state of Florida. State of Florida does not have high balance loans. You're restricted to whatever the county loan limit is for FHA, VA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. With FHA, your final loan amount can actually exceed the county loan limit by the amount of the solar or the energy efficient improvements. Wow. So the appraiser doesn't need to factor it in the appraisal. So you take that fear away. The borrower doesn't have to qualify for the additional amounts. You take that fear away. They're able to finance dollar for dollar 100% of the energy efficient features. So you take that fear of additional cash off the table. And if it pushes you over the limit to what your county loan limit is for FHA, you can exceed the county loan limit by that amount. I would think, Craig, that that should be something that everybody should have knowledge of. Whether it's sold to every customer, absolutely not. But everybody should at least have the knowledge to know that that is available. Now, let's go back to energy efficiency with 203K.
What is the FHA limit now generally for Florida? Isn't it like 470,000?
Yes, yes, it is. And so let's say I looked up what the medium sales price was in Florida yesterday preparing for this. It was $418,500. Now that's the entire state, and that is the medium, which means half of them are over it and half of it are under it. But 418.5. Now, with the you can also do Fannie Mae. You can also do Freddie Mac with energy efficiency. The one thing with a 203K combined with energy efficiency or solar is FHA has one product called 203K. There's two options. One is called the limited. One is called the standard. Everybody hears the word limited, Craig, and that's where they want to go because they perceive it to be easier and it doesn't need a HUD consultant. I will tell you that's not necessarily true, but if that's the perception, I'm not going to try to argue that in this format. So FHA limited is limited to the scope, which means you can't do any structural type repairs, and the maximum dollar amounts where the total renovation cost cannot exceed $35,000 unless, and there's that word, unless, if you're doing solar or energy efficient improvements, you can put those energy efficient improvements out for. There's a bill before Congress right now called the SAFE Act. And right now it's being sponsored by both Democrats and Republican senators. And that normally doesn't happen very often. In this bill, if it were ever to be passed and become law, an appraiser would have to monetize in their appraisal when they're reviewing comps the energy efficiency of the subject property versus the comparables.
I was going to ask you about that because let's say we're buying a resale FHA, not a renovation loan, and that resale has solar and energy efficiency. And recently the appraisers have not been getting a lot of credit on that. So you're saying this is a bill that would force them to start doing that?
It would force them to do that.
Good. That needs to happen.
Well,
yeah.
it
$0 for your electric bill, you can qualify for a lot more house.
I agree with you 100%, but just think about this. I said every, that's an overgeneralization, but a huge majority of professionals, mortgage professionals and real estate professionals would have to be retrained and reconditioned the way in which we think. Right now, we think, I'm not going to talk about energy efficiency because it's going to slow down my transaction and my people want to close in 30 days. So we don't even tell people that it's available. So it's just, there are tools out there. Here's one. The biggest buzz in the mortgage banking side of the industry right now is accessory dwelling units, ADUs.
Yes. I was going to bring it up.
That's the
Mhm.
number one buzzword. I am actually speaking on Valentine's Day, February 14th, at the Central Florida Mortgage Bankers Association. I'm going to be their guest speaker for the month in February. And the whole topic of conversation is going to be, how do we overcome the two major obstacles that we're faced in this industry right now? Inventory shortages. Everybody talks about inventory shortages. We've had inventory shortages now for close to a decade. So is it real? Yes, it's real, but it's been there for a long time. And if you have a listing which is, you know, the 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, it's 8 years old, it's in a cul-de-sac with a white picket fence. I mean, you've got bars standing out in line before you put your sign in the front yard. I'm not talking about those houses. But the second largest problem that we have is affordability. I was sitting here waiting for you to bring us all in, and you had music playing, and I wrote down no shoes, no shirt, no problems. No shoes, no shirt, no problem. Feet in the sands and a drink in the hand. Here's what I thought when I was hearing that song. That song was us, mortgage bankers, real estate professionals, from about July of 2020 through about July of 2022, when interest rates were down to 2.75% and 3%. Property values were going through the roof. Properties had acceleration clauses in them, just like they did back in 2004, 5, 6, in the early parts of 2007. And affordability wasn't really an issue. But for the last 2 years, affordability has actually pushed a lot of potential first-time home buyers to the sidelines. And we all have made a ton of money in our career on the millennials. And we will continue to make a lot of very good money on millennials. But we all thought that the millennials, and I'm one of them, would be dumping our assets by now, downsizing. They're not doing that. They're staying put. So how are we, if the millennial home buyers are going to be really our ticket to long-term success, how are we going to be able to get them in their first houses? If they lack the assets to be able to do it, they can't compete with all cash transactions. How do we get them into that typical starting home? Well, when I travel around the country and I talk to real estate professionals like yourself, everybody talks about inventory shortages. And I ask the following questions. How many in the audience, in your active listing inventory right now, do you have inventory in your listings that have been in the market 90 days or longer? You'd be amazed how many people raise their hands. And in the multiple list comments, they're saying cash only, investor dream, tender living care, all these adjectives that really say this house is broke. There's nothing wrong with this house being broke. There are people that are making millions of dollars on reality TV showing people how to take a house and turn it into a home. Why don't we do that? That's what, taking the house, what Candace will be able to do is, if any of your agents have existing inventory or have shied away from taking inventory, that are properties that just don't have the appeal that the average buyer wants today, we're able to bring in a consulting company to walk the property and do a feasibility study, free feasibility study, and put together an entire marketing platform for that specific property so that you can now change the way in which you're presenting this property. So number one, you're given better service than the competition to your sellers, and attract buyers. And what we're starting to find, that when loan officers are doing this in conjunction with the realtors, and they're actually holding open houses for these types of properties, there are orphan home buyers that are coming through the door that haven't signed a buyer broker agreement with any realtors, and it's sort of like a lead generation system. And so what we're doing is we're putting an entire marketing platform around helping you, our partners, sell your distressed listings. How many loan officers have you worked with over the last 10, 20, 30 years that are talking about helping you sell your listings? Probably not many. But we see this as really a key to strengthening relationships with you and allowing you to strengthen your relationships with your referral partners. So what are we offering in this package? Candace mentioned something called a list and lock. We're going to be rolling out next month a list and lock. So instead of you asking the seller to reduce the price of the house, keep the price the same, and let's utilize those additional funds to buy down the rate, whether it be a permanent buy down rate or a 1 year or a 2 year buy down. Yesterday on my podcast, I asked the loan officers of CMG this question: how many economists in today's financial world, how many economists right now are thinking the feds are going to be increasing rates over the next 12 months? Not many. Just about every one of them is thinking that Fed is going to be reducing rates over the next 12 to 18 months. So if affordability is a problem today, but we all believe that it's going to improve within the next 12 to 18 months, why don't we encourage our sellers, instead of reducing their sales price on these distressed houses, keep your sales price right where it is, but right now pay 3 or 6% seller concessions. Use that concession to do either a 1 year buy down or a buy down for your buyers, and be able to proactively advertise it to drive more traffic to your listings. So that's one thing we're going to do. The second thing that we have is what is known as the Home Funded Program. I'm sure Candace has talked to a number of your agents about it. We're now opening that up for these distressed houses. If 23% of first-time home buyers are getting gifts from friends and family, the Home Funded Program says that CMG will match a grant, $2 for every $1 that the borrower gets gifts through this Home Funded Program. So if a borrower can get $1,000 gift from a parent, we will match $2,000 to that $1,000 gift. Now the borrower has $3,000 to invest towards their transaction. So we're really trying to focus on making home ownership more affordable. Affordability, most people think, is either the sales price, which is in your category, or the mortgage payment, which is in our category. And although those components are the two largest components of home ownership, what about monthly utility bills? What about maintenance and repair bills? Those of us that are homeowners know how expensive they can be. Why don't we start educating our first-time home buyers how they can utilize an energy efficient feature, or utilize a 203K or a Fannie Mae home style renovation, or utilize a 1 year or a 2 year buy down to make the home ownership experience not only more affordable, but more enjoyable for our customers. So
not my saying is in awareness gives you flexibility. Flexibility gives you options. Options give you power. So my goal, and you've done a very good job, is to make us aware, right? And so we can be more flexible, so we don't have to turn people down, and we can actually provide options for different houses. You know, the one thing that's been very interesting to me is, you know, everybody wants to be in Tampa, but you can't afford Tampa anymore unless you're a $400,000+ buyer. And if you are, it's going to be a POS house. You can imagine what POS stands for. And and it's going to need a renovation loan. You're going to have a bunch of cash, or you're moving out. I was joking with somebody yesterday. Our hot sheet comes out every day and talks about the sales. We had a sale in San Antonio, Texas, and Florida. And I'm like, where the hell is San Antonio, Florida? It's not but 45 minutes outside I-75, right? But people are going out there because the land of the builders are more affordable than they are in the Tampa Bay area. So this is a way to get you closer to Tampa, where you can enjoy the benefits of Tampa, the sporting events, et cetera, and still have a nice quality home.
Something
Years ago,
else with the Craig, I was gonna add real quick on, if we do the FHA 203K, of course, FHAs have PMI, they have the homeowners insurance, where we have rate rebound program. So if you do a loan with us, it doesn't matter what kind of loan it is, you do a loan with us and the rates go down or you're ready to refinance, you refinance with CMG for no cost. A lot of people are saying they're doing that, but there's limits and you actually pay this and you actually pay that. Ours is no money, rate rebound, we refinance it, and we can get you out of that insurance, the PMI. We can just flip you over to a conventional. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So, and if there's agents out there that are working with first-time home buyers specifically, please reach out to me afterwards, because there's so many things that we can do right now to start filling your funnel for the entire year, focusing on these people. And they're programs that nobody else has. So please do reach out to me and let's have a little
That's what I've
chat.
been doing. This is an example. This is your sales funnel, right?
Right.
And there's not that many people that are coming through that are qualified out there at their end right now. So we need a nurturing program, which we have, but we need to put unqualified people in there, educate them, nurture them until they come out the other end.
That's right.
Fully baked and ready to rock and roll.
So then your funnel is full. Can you imagine? I mean, just a full funnel all year. It's amazing what we can do.
And
together.
that comes from getting this information and then talking to people about it. And one of the most efficient ways to do that is social media.
Yep.
Or podcast, or however you would want to do. So
now what I and I hope I'm not being too aggressive, but I know we have a limited time, or at least I have a limited time today. I'd like to be able to come back if
sure.
If you see that, to really talk about two other items that I think could really benefit your agents, if just simply the knowledge of it.
Well, you touched on ADUs. I'd like to learn more about that from you, but not today.
ADUs and what I call the 203K 110% solution. You know, I've got a marketing campaign behind that. If the realtor's number one fear of realtors have two fears on a renovation loan. First of all, you never think that they're going to close. You think it's going to take forever. Well, that's not true. It's not the product, it's the person that's using the product. We're closing our renovation loans in between 35 or 45 days. Okay. So the second fear is the appraisal. Is the property going to appraise? With FHA 203K on a non-condo, can't do it on a condo, but on a non-condo, the LTV and maximum mortgage and down payment is based on the lower of the total acquisition cost, which is the sales price plus the total renovation cost, or 110% of the after improved value. So you have that 10% deviation that literally takes the fear of the property under appraising off the table. So I'd like to come back and literally talk through the mechanics of that, because I think it would be very beneficial for your agents, both from the listing side as well as from the sales side.
Yep.
And then ADUs. I think it's an unbelievable opportunity in the real estate side of the business for having the knowledge to show people what they can do while they're buying the house. They can buy the house and incorporate the money to build the ADU post-closing, all in one package.
Wow.
Mhm.
The state of California just passed a bill. It's Assembly Bill 1031, passed right at the end of 2023. I do not know how this is actually going to occur in real life, but California approved it. If you have an ADU in California, you're going to be able to petition to turn that ADU into a condominium. How you're going to be able to do that, I don't have any idea, but it's now on the books in the state of California. And by turning it into a condominium, which means you're going to get a separate tax ID and everything else, you're then going to be able to sell that condominium.
Whoa.
So you can either, in that example, and I know this sounds crazy, you can use the ADU to bring in elderly parents or bring in adult children who are moving back home, or rent it out, for additional income stream, or
Mhm.
in the state of California, you can turn around and sell it. So I could talk for another half hour on ADUs and FHA 203Ks, and I don't want to take
No, we'll do it another day.
any additional time.
Candace, who was your lapdog? That was a big lapdog.
She is a 5-month-old rescue puppy.
Oh,
She's
she's
a
adorable.
puppy. Yeah, she's a lab and Boykin, Spaniel Boykin mix. So she's a sweet girl.
She looks like a sweet girl.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, thank you. This is all we want to get it done today. So let's get some exposure, some ideas for agents to educate their customers, to make them look like professionals. So guys, I hope
Right.
you take this information and start disseminating it, because that's why we do it.
Right. Yep.
Boy,
When
sorry.
you're an expert and an advisor and can give solutions and trying to help people, you're just going to get more business. When you know what you know and you can offer what you know,
Mhm.
What's that? The more you know thing commercial from when we were little.
Yeah, I remember.
Anybody else on here?
Yeah.
Expose my
The
age.
very first chat is Candace's contact information. So check your chat. Candace Blackburn, CMG Home Loans, C Blackburn at cmghomeloans.com, with her phone number being 813-732-2606. Quite a few good mornings. Yeah, I hope you took some notes. There's some good things to talk about today.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Steve.
Are you running through the questions?
I'm trying
Fred?
to just make sure we covered everything. Can you get insurance on a renovated home? Yes, absolutely. If
You
so,
get better
pay a
insurance,
premium.
right?
Nope. As long as the house is up to date and it's got a good quality roof and a good quality water heater and a good quality air conditioner, it's going to insure just fine.
Can't do this on investments, right, Steve?
Right.
Now you can do Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac can do investments.
Oh, they
Yep.
can?
Second homes and 90% LTV, second homes, 85%
85.
investment, 1 unit only. You can't do a multi-unit investment property, but you can do a 1 unit investment as well as second home.
See, I just learned that. I thought it was only first and second.
Now that's FHA. FHA is just for primary residence, but
Yep.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are allowed for both second homes as well as investment properties.
And we can do it on jumbos too.
Ooh, even better. So remember, awareness gives you flexibility, flexibility gives you options, options gives you power. I'll send a podcast we did yesterday at the end of this week when Taylor renders it, and give you some more information, and hopefully, repeat some of the words we do in your own voice and start building your own brand for yourselves. Okay. Yes, they do construction loans as well. Perfect. Okay.
One time close, two time close, construction renovation, all of that. We can do everything here. I
Right.
swear we can figure it out.
Well, you went to work there. Anyway, Candace, thank you for your time this morning. Steve, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank
you-
you, Steve. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, do you do vacant land loans only?
So we could do vacant land. We could flip it over to commercial, but we can figure it out. I swear.
Okay.
I swear with this company, I say, can we do this? And they're like, yeah, we figure it out.
How about construction to perm?
Of course.
Okay. Great to know.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody.